and we genetically bred for war.
Roll Archer.
His Majesty is genetically bred for war.
Henchmanati.
I Ho Chi Minh Son, I'm genetically bred for war.
HS1
Jihad
Patriot.
in this month, genetically bred for war.
Lao
Kill 'em all,
Z.
let God sort 'em out, settle the score.
Sniper.
World of camouflage, courage of deception, bent on destruction, alert enemy detection, mobilize henchmen, spreading microphone terrorism, electronic sound waves be blessed, I'm wetting them, sparing you fishes like third world fishermen, on a mission to reinstate the legacy that was perverted and stolen, sword exposing Muslim bone organ, all y'all sound boring, trapped in the ecosystem of murder and fornication, spit rays illuminate the mind, now means sunlight, vampires ignite, day or night, streams burn to this, soldiers secure the throne to this, raise fist, line paw, rise with the morning star, line raw, Kippura, Rastafari, Bonabati guy, all in former types. Selassie, I master my inner lights, reaching higher heights, where devils get sliced and diced, kinda like mincemeat. When the blade of outwar is unsheathed, the population fall victim of blade onslaught. Verbal war campaigns, when I ink the page, searing pain unfolding the brain. Combatants left main, souls get claimed, covered the throne like a king, bells ring, don't stick to the wind, formulate my curve with divine trig. Countermeasure, hit you so fast you swear a make. Pump round after rounding you like a sig. Cock your wig, use it as a headdress and place it on my flip wig. Walk down your block just to prove my point. I'm supreme what? Switch your name to skate butts. You fairy bone, you debone, you got no bone, you just bristle. Defcon 1, launch the missile.
War. Yeah. Genetically bred for war. So we genetically bred for war. Cause we genetically bred for war. So we genetically bred for war. Son, we genetically bred for war. Genetically bred for war. Son, I'm genetically bred for war. Genetically bred for war. He's genetically bred for war. I leave the crime scene with my war face painted in green. Cops got no time to stop me or intervene. That's why I'm the devil killing machine. Sometimes I fiend to dismember the head of the enemy that lurks in the same bed as the dragon and the ego working as a fed. Instead of wanting me alive, they just want me dead. Or that's what I read. If they chase me, I chase them. Like a never-ending war, there's more to replace them. The only way to win is by destroying the main station. Manufacturing samples waiting for placement. Fire up on your agents, this world's ran by Masons. Living subterranean lives cause they face it. Prophesize rebel warmonger action taken. Watch that movie Soldier cause that's just what they making. It's all about pride, but you can't run a heart unless you choose suicide. Try to tap into my mind, access denied, leave your brains fried. Like 6,000 watts pumped through my fortress to keep you out, but at least you tried. If you want to collide with Charlie Whispers, then warning you're in for a ride. That's like a doomsday asteroid touching down on the planet Earth. Watch for killjoy, riding off the crash course. Now it's time to destroy Babylon, toppling the empires to make way for the nights to break day. I'm a night stalking IHF member. Believe that Mossad agents ease back. No remorse can stop me. Shot on sight, don't give me feedback. Yeah, genetically bred for war. So we genetically bred for war. Cause we genetically bred for war. So we genetically bred for war. Son, we genetically bred for war. Genetically bred for war. Son, I'm genetically bred for war. Genetically bred for war.
Genetically bred for war.
Hearts at your door, Vlad impaling seeds of root and evil weeds. Rwanda massacring MCs, rivers overflow with bodies. VH war gas compositions, robotic lava leaving third-degree burns and blisters. Microphone condensing vapor, nuclear rolling thunder. ICBMs erase ya, ghost dance, can't cage you, move like a zombie in a trance. Hands, Zulu art of war, fuck dudes, anarchy becomes law and rule. Hell's breaking news, commandos start the coup, initiate operation overthrow. RLA and camp on your banks, Twilight can we attack your flank. Leaving my motor around CCP, JP, kiss off the shells, decimate compounds. 4540 cars, renegade AWOL mercenary cowboys. Joint chiefs and staff generals, running up stranglers on search and destroy missions. Daytime, wartime, executioners, peacemakers, hip-hop dictators, judgment enforcers, face disfigurers, pain distributors, brutal butcherers. Knowledge is a weapon, so henchmen let's cripple their minds. They're the war now playing, and we ain't playing no other way to slave, but cold and frigid. Behold black and white magic on turf. Lord Caesar centuries into the ambush. Rotate on burst while we spit foul words, enacting our generational curse. Set out net up words, like God sending lightning bolts, like an uprise revolt, like a Hollywood thug making streets light up with fireworks. Come out unscathed, unhurt, come out of hell undefiled and uncooked. I'm in the form of double-edged swords, arrows.
High-powered gas and spears, no life is spared.
War. No life is spared. Commercial rappers. Commercial rappers.
Whirlwind, judgment.
No radio edit. Headrush Charlie, genetically bred for war. Fuck it up.
Henchmanati.
Genetically bred for war. No mistakes. Yeah, war. like that.
Islam. Peace and love, Moors. We're here once again, Canaanland Moors class, Tuesday. That was some of the old subpar versus Henchman Addy. That was the first album, Theater of War. It's up on YouTube. You could just take a listen to that, see where it was at. So, as usual, the information doesn't stop. It never stops. And everybody's always trying to let people know something. Dr. Jordan Patterson, in an exclusive interview, Dr. Jordan Patterson tackles cultural appropriation and censorship. Post Media Network asks Patterson, what are the implications for journalists with regard to cultural appropriation, censorship, and all that? The first lesson is that they're going to be hung out to dry by their superiors. And the second is that the radical mob learned that with a relatively moderate level of effort, they can humiliate and take down even journalists that have impeccable reputations and large followings. So if the journalistic community wanted to teach their enemies the lesson they most want to be taught, they taught them that this week. In some cases, the journalists apologized. Why wasn't that enough? You never apologize to a mob. You're not dealing with individuals who you can reestablish a relationship with. You are dealing with a soulless idea that has people in its possession, and it's a shifting entity. It doesn't even involve the same people necessarily across time, although there's often a core, and that the idea is going to do with your apology is note that you believe that the game is fair, and that the game is fair. The game that they foisted on you is fair, and you're guilty of breaking the rules. Right? So remember, this is the same campaign that Moors are dealing with, where you have international community putting something on the record. Superiors. Subordinate people, they're not trying to hear that. They're going to violate people regardless of what superiors said or whatever, right? Because you're dealing with an idea that's soulless. So Noble Jolly took us out of that. No Negro Black Colored, no 14th Amendment, no, you know what I mean? Nothing to do with the mob. Nothing to do with democracy. Everything to do with self-governance. Everything to do with every man is a priest unto himself, and if everybody was a priest, there would be no devils. There would be no disagreeable people. Does this promote censorship? It promotes self-censorship. I talked to many journalists about this issue, and they all express concern. They're all engaging in cautious self-censorship. They're not saying what they believe. They're not avoiding certain issues. That's the most subtle form of censorship. You just avoid the topic altogether. And that's the beginning of the big lie. That's the sin of omission. You start by just not saying things, and you end up by saying things that you know to be untrue. Again, going back to Moorish movement. Then Noble Jolly laid something down. Then other people came and laid something down. Then everybody's just saying things that's not true, that's coming from the people after. And they might throw some noble drawl in there once in a while, make it sound good. But the reality is, majority of these people are doing a disservice. The majority of people, whether it's media, entertainment, sports, right, whatever, doing a disservice. Like, you can't be, you know what I mean, Islam to the good master teacher, Brother Asir, right? Islam to Brother Asir, for putting it on the record, to don't get caught up in these people wearing their stuff. Right? They already came out and told people already what they know. So don't get caught up in, now you see them in something else and it means that they're getting more and more conscious about, no, these people already know what's up. They want to do something, do like what Yassine Bey did and say, don't call me Sean Carter, call me whatever Bey. Do that. Shock them with that. Don't tell me about, you know, you're not black no more, you're an Israelite now, but you got a license driving around not as an Israelite. So be mindful. The people playing with your stuff. Because you don't want it. Because you don't want it, then hey, they're going to play the ass with your stuff. Just because. And then you're going to get your bike all messed up, wheels busted, chain off and all that. And you're mad. Why are you mad? Shouldn't have gave your bike up. You seen all those guys did with those other guys' bike. You let them ride your bike? You're a fool. No one not buying you no bike either. And that's how you learn lessons. There's a big game going on. All the basketball stuff going on right now, big game. Big game. And everybody's the fool, keeping this stupid stuff going. Just keeping it going. Just keeping the stuff going. Right? You really tell me that LeBron didn't take the money? You know LeBron took the money. He had to take the money. Because somebody had to go 12-0 and it wasn't going to be them. Because, sorry, buddy, we own you. You do what we say. 11 points. Best player in the world or whatever like that. 11 points. Playoffs? And that's real? Wrestling. Don't fall for the wrestling. Get you unplugged from that illusion and start getting into reading books and stuff again. All the stuff that you forgot about, that you forgot how to do those things. Start reading again. Start exercising again. Not the fake exercise, the real stuff. Running the hills and stuff like that. Not to go to the gym. Go in the park, go do some stuff. Right? Because it's only, keep in mind, it's May 23rd. Right? It was just May 1st. We were just saying, Happy New Year, solstice. It's May right now. So, you gotta study so you can keep up with what's going on right now, or you just see people just moving further and further, you don't know what's going on. Right? Studying is essential. That's why Drawley said it 3 times. You're not playing. You're just saying it just because. Like, it's real. Everything he said is spirit. So more's better heed. Why did he say study, study, study? So you can be ahead of the curve. Curve coming, no high beams. All right? See what happens. So everybody knows, right? And we already know that the campaign is try to get our people to not know who they are. Know everything else except themselves. Right? So instead of trying to find something about Moors or whatever, deal with these so-called Europeans who are writing in their books and their whatever else it is, right? And using the same stuff that these people say that they claim, Egyptology and all that, right? Honors to all of the master teachers who came out and put certain things on the record relative to so-called ancient Egyptians and Arabs and Asians and all these people. Right? Honors to them who put certain things on the record relative to all those people, so we can know that the uniting of Asia is real. Right? From black scholars. Okay? So the foundation of scientific racism. And as we read this, we're gonna also go through another one, the Ancient American Magazine, Stones of Atlantis edition. Because the Egypt thing, has just been coming up. And just, like people saying they're Egyptian and just stuff going on with regard to Egypt. So figure, just go in Egypt a little bit and see what comes out, whatever. So Egyptology and the foundations of scientific racism. The emergence of Egyptology as a field of study in the 1800s opened opportunities to examine Africa's contributions to world history, but it also allowed scholars to use their findings to reinforce old and new racial theories. Undoubtedly, archaeological discoveries in Egypt during the French invasion of 1798 to 1801 led European scholars to make greater use of science in order to justify racial hierarchies, especially the enslavement of Africans. Even though ancient texts prove that the ancient Egyptians were indeed African, a central theme within science communities was to prove otherwise. Many prominent Western scholars used their resources to deny African origins of ancient Egypt. In the article, The Ancient World and Africa, Whose Roots?, Basil Davidson, renowned scholar of African history, explains the political and economic context that led many European scholars to deny African origins of ancient Egypt. He writes, and keep in mind, Africa has synonyms. And one of the synonyms for African is Moors. Alright, so keep that in mind. Every time you hear African, you put the slash and put Moors there as well. Don't just look at African and just leave it at that. You have to put slash Moors. And then to confirm that, you go to the Moorish doctorate, Dr. Ben, and him putting on the record in Western civilization that the Arabs and the Asians and the Africans were Moors. Because Moor synonymous with all these three, right, names. So Basil Davidson, he writes that the ancient Egyptians were black, again in any variant you may prefer. Okay. So the ancient Egyptians were black, and any variant of black that you can prefer. Now, this is renowned scholar. This is a scholar. And he's saying that the ancient Egyptians are black. And not only were they black, but the range in black. Black has different. No. If black has different shades and stuff like that, it makes sense why they could just call themselves black people. So considering that that's not the case, this so-called scholar, in trying to prove his point, destroys his point by using black retroactive, because ancient Egyptians would have said soot, not black. Ancient Egyptians would not say black, black stick, black. They would not say that, because we know that black is a modern word. So there's no way that, and they're specifically saying ancient Egyptians. Remember, this is scholar on the black side is making a point or whatever, right? Now, keep in mind now that African is synonymous with Moor. So anytime you go into the quote unquote African studies, you already know what it is. The Africans were, don't let them make people have this perspective that everybody's not Moors, even though they're called different stuff, right? The ancient Egyptians were black, again in any variant you may prefer, or as I myself think more useful to say, were African, is a belief which has been denied in Europe since about 1830, not before. It is a denial, in short, that belongs to the rise of modern European imperialism and has to be explained in terms of the new racism, specifically and even frantically an anti-black racism, which went together with and was consistently nourished by that imperialism. The racism that we know was born in Europe and America from the cultural need to justify doing to black people, doing to Africans, what could not morally or legally be done to white people, and least of all to Europeans. To justify the enslavement of Africans, in short, it was culturally necessary to believe or be able to believe that Africans were inherently and naturally less than human, but were beings of somehow subhuman, non-human nature. That was the cultural basis in the context of the slave trade and of the modern imperialism in Africa, which followed the slave trade. As Davidson urges, European scholars sought to justify the enslavement of Africans based on theories of white racial superiority. The vast accomplishments of ancient Egypt undermined these theories that regarded Africans as subhuman or intellectually inferior. So remember, they're always going to take the Egyptians, claim them as Africans. The Cushites claim them as Africans. You take all these things, claim as soon as the Moors come in, all of those are Arabs. How come the Moors? How come everybody else, where there's Arabs today, get tied to Africans, but Moors get tied to Arabs? Oh, because it's all the same people, whether they're African, whether they're Arab, and then again we're going to throw in the Asian, right? Which we'll address that one right now, because somebody left a comment on YouTube about there was a non-melanated guy with a fez that walked by the camera or whatever, right? So that's one of our brothers from the East. That's one of our brothers from the East who realized that he's not all capital letters Chinese name. No way. It can't be that. Because even where he comes from, in his language, you don't write, that's not how you write stuff. So when I said Chinese, Oriental, Asian, whatever country, Canadian, I actually sold myself as a slave to Canada? Okay, well, so who are the native people here then? Like, who are the people that we're supposed to talk to in order to fix this error? Right? And a Moor saw this quote unquote yellow guy and told him about nationality and birthrights, and he's on it. You know, don't call me yellow and all that stuff. On it. On it, like willing to go to court, stand on the square, right? Just because. I mean, why not? So, the Ojo Ali said the uniting of Asia. This was for everybody. Moorish divine movement of the world. It's a world movement. Why is it world? Because it's dealing with the 5 principles that everybody in the world recognizes and appreciates and honors and defends to their death. They'll defend those 5 principles. Anybody, just ask them. Just ask them. 10 things. Name me 10 things that you want, that you would want for the world. And guarantee 5 of those things are going to be our principles. Guaranteed. Because, you know, they got culture. When they recognize that we got one, then now it's a unity. More so to go anywhere around here, because by the looks of it, it looks right now, 2017, it looks like brothers from the East are the ones who are going to be the ones running the shops and stuff. Seeing Chinese grocery stores opening all over the place. Seeing all European stuff getting the hell out of here. Certain stuff's still around. They're not going to give up all the ship at once, but they know what's up. Right, so this idea of the African, regard the African as subhuman, intellectually inferior, and all that. Right. That was really about subjugating the Moors, the history of what the Moors did. It wasn't about some Egyptian whatever, because keep in mind that at the time frame of Egypt falling, the Europeans in control of that. There was no, they already took all the stuff and they already left that for them people. And again, why didn't anything really happen? How come there's dark ages still? Why there's still a dark ages that people have to come save people out of something? Why? If the light of the information was in Egypt. Because, no, it wasn't there. All the stuff got transferred into the hands of the Moors. Documented fact. George G.M. James' Stolen Legacy. That they're never going to talk about that book. Talk about all his books, but they never talk about that one. When that's the key component to recognizing that the Moors stuff is connected to the Egypt stuff. And you can't separate them. You can't have Egypt something, African whatever, without putting the Moors in there. Sorry. Because the Moors are the custodians of all this knowledge. Yes, it's something that is heard. Yes, it's something that we know already. But certain things need to be digested so people can get the full scope. Because, you know, Moors with libraries, they already know. We already put this out there. These classes aren't for them. They're just here just on some support. Nothing to do on a Tuesday. We're going to sit down and watch Cujo get some laughs. Right? Now, these people coming in to this information, getting game by all these swindlers out here, playing you out of your birthrights, take studies serious. And recognize that, you know what I mean? Like, we're giving up the goods for the unity. We're telling you, it's okay. You can be Bay and still do Canatology. It's fine. You can be Garveyite and be a L. Like, you could actually do that. You could proclaim your nationality and still be Nation of Islam. Joseph X did it. Joseph X said, forget this X BS. I'm Yusuf Bey. Nobody realized what happened? Didn't register? That the man did a name correction, status correction, that people are going to tell you that's not real and all that stuff. Well, how come they're not going at Yusuf Bey, who did the status correction? Whether it was because he studied and mastered the supreme wisdom or whatever like that, it doesn't matter. However they want to dress it up to make it not look like status correction, go right ahead. But it's status correction. Uncle Farrakhan doesn't have X anymore. Why? Status correction. All these people know. And we're trying to catch our people up to date that you guys think you know something, you're conscious you know something? Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, they gave all their stuff to the Moors. So what message is that telling somebody who's studying ancient Egypt stuff right now? But George G.M. James said that the Moors are the custodians of ancient Egyptian culture. You're not refuting that. So why is there not ancient Egyptian students saying that they're Moors? Study it, because, I mean, if the information transferred to be Moors, then the people obviously transferred too to be Moors. The people obviously put themselves under the Moroccan Empire. Now you have imposters there today, but you know, you can't really get rid of the customs. That's why they got fezzes in Egypt, fezzes in Turkey, fezzes in Israel, fezzes in all these places there. You check all the stone stuff, they got fezzes on. You think that Moors made up fezzes? Fezzes been around. It's not some stuff just pertaining to us in 2017. We got fezzes now, so we think we're the stuff. We're not nobody. We just got fezzes. We're nobody. We're behind 100 years plus the stuff before that, from Henry Turner and them. This continuous game of having our people not associate, identify, connect with their Moorish nationality and birthrights is what our problem is as a people. That's the problem. We're not saying don't be whatever you want to be, as far as a school of thought. But your identity, if you're in America, you're either a Moorish subject or you're a Moorish national. Or you're a foreigner who's escheating, hypothecating, colonizing, etc. That's where you're at. Right? And we notice we're not talking about Negro, blacks, whatever, because all those whatever people, they're property of the colonizer. So they don't even count as an individual. Right? And, you know, again, if our people who claim that they are for the upliftment of their people and their people being better and all that stuff, they're not going to play this stupid game with them about, you know, well, you're not Moors, you're ancient, whatever. They're not going to play that game. Because everything ancient bottlenecks into Moorish history. Everything ancient. Because again, they're not going to deny the Egyptian stuff and what they did and all that stuff. You're not going to deny any of that. All right, well, all the stuff that they did, that's why the Moors were able to do what they did. Because they had the direct handoff from the ancient Egyptians. Do not let these people claim that they're scholars and all that stuff steal your birthright so you have nothing to stand on. Make sure for yourself, at least in your mind, that you correct when you're reading these black books or whatever like that. They might have 10 pages on the Moors, but you know, you're going to read the book just because. You make sure you edit those stuff in your mind. Don't be reading African and saying African in your mind. You better be saying Moors in your mind. To get this ingrained in your mind that no matter what set of knowledge you claim, you have a nationality. And your nationality better be tied to the land that you're standing on. Or you're a foreigner. And if you're a foreigner, then you're under the jurisdiction of foreign rule, or democracy, or mobocracy, because those are the only ones who let foreigners come over here. Only foreigners let foreigners come over here. Indigenous people, it's not. Right? It's already free for all right now. It's too late. Gates already bust open. Everybody's already inside. Okay, well now we just gotta regulate all these people that's here. You're not gonna go fix the gate and stop people and all that stuff. You know, you're just gonna put up two things, put a line, and say, okay, show me your passport. Okay, now you guys can go or whatever. Right? Because of logistics. So our thing is to make sure, again, that when Moors are coming into this information and you're studying, that you're looking at these synonyms of these people, the main ones: Africans, Arabs, Asian/Oriental. And then of course they'll put European in there. But always keep in mind George G.M. James. And he has to get his respect and honor for putting what he put in his book in there, because I don't think anybody else ever spoke about it. about the legacy of the Egyptians actually being handed down to the Moors. Like everything that they had. And then the Moors took it and did what they did with it. Shared it with who they shared it with, and then those people went and they did whatever they did with what the Moors gave them. Right? Documenting African origins. Right? Remember, and then you make sure you use the synonyms. Broaden the perspective. Or pinpoint the perspective. So that you know exactly who, what, where, when, how you're dealing with. Off the bat, just because you know, oh, they say Berber, they mean Moors. Okay, oh, when they say Tuareg, they mean Moors. Oh, when they say... You're able to realize that it was really the quote-unquote Christians / Catholics and the quote-unquote nature worshippers. And the nature worshippers who followed nature's law came under subjugation by people who were against those natural principles that from every plant life to human life, everything was cool. There's no beef, no issues, you know what I mean? When's the last time you seen a bee or whatever? Unless you go to a bee hive or something. You don't see bees just around. Butterflies, stuff like that. Things are almost extinct out here. Why? For the same thing. Pushing fiction. Pushing fiction, pushing fiction, pushing fiction, thinking fiction, but then fiction exists. People have been so fiction that now they have plastic rice and fake vegetables and putting kerosene in chips and crazy. Why? Because the mothers and fathers of civilization were cool with being nigger. And then when they realized that they're nigger, they put on the little stuff, but they never changed their nigger character. So things only got worse. But then certain people who had knowledge of nature and certain things like that, you know, they stepped away or whatever like that and let these people do their own little thing in the corner. And it's come back around again of what are we going to do with these individuals. And then certain ones out of these individuals who know what's up, we know what it takes, you know what I mean, did certain things, put their life on the line, came out unscathed. And they're not even using those examples to say, you know what, I'm going to consider what these Moors are saying. They're going to go talk about all this BS that means nothing. Egyptology is nothing, it's dead. There's nothing there. Right? Like you can't go in a pyramid right now. Like they won't let you go in. You could go in Alhambra. You can go in Moorish palaces because half of them are turned to cathedrals and churches. So you can still go in these things. They're still around today. Things that the Moors did. And they're going to be around for way more centuries because why? People are going to preserve them. Because of all the devilish stuff that they did, it's still world history. And the fact of the matter is that Moors did it. It wasn't ancient anybody's. All the dead stuff, the stuff with dust on it, and they tell you don't climb that bricks loose and you fall inside this cavern, you can't help you. All those stuff that the ancient people did, those are just there as a reflection for you to know how great you were. But those times are long gone. We ain't building no pyramids and stuff right. That's why it took certain people's stuff. I'm building no pyramids right now. It's not pyramid building time. right? Guarantee if they did some earth houses and stuff like that, they wouldn't have touched them people. They're saying that you're native, you know what I mean? Like, tie it back to the land. The connection to the Egyptians and the quote-unquote Africans is really the connection to the Moors and the Egyptians. The pharaohs of Egypt gave the Moab to go whatever. Moors are the descendants of Moabites who knew the pharaohs. So is it really far-fetched that ancient Egyptians, because I mean, you know, after they say, well, hey, go on over there, Moab, do your thing or whatever. Then they turn around and then 2 minutes later, civilization is built and whatever. Why wouldn't they give them the stuff? Who else would be qualified? Nobody really. Who else would be qualified? Everybody else is in war or in ruins from war, fighting this beast. So the last ones, and they were so brilliant that, you know what I mean, they took this thing far and wide. So that even when their stronghold in Granada got shut down, Europeans were like, yeah, we did it, we defeated the Moors. Here comes Christopher Colon. You know, you guys forgot about across the Atlantic Ocean, all the stuff that they got over there. Right? The Treaty of Tordesillas and then going down the line. But all the other stuff to come try to pretend, you know what I mean? Digging up stuff. And, yeah, oh yeah, we found Egyptian stuff over here and, you know what I mean? So the ancient Egyptian. No, Moors. Because the Moors were the custodians. So everything they inherited, the Moors did. George G.M. James, Stolen Legacy. There's even an audio book on YouTube. No ancient Egyptian anything. That's just historical. That's not modern time. Anybody who's quote unquote repping ancient Egyptian whatever in modern time, they're Moors. They're supposed to be saying they got free national name, El Bey, whatever free national name. On their Amen, Hotep, whatever. Right? Whatever Egyptian, ancient, whatever, you better have El Bey on there. Because, you know, we already know that there's stuff from so-called over there, over here. So if there's stuff from over there, over here, Europeans are writing about it. And then George G.M. James is telling you that, well, hey, you know, all the stuff that the Egyptians had, they gave it to the Moors. What does that mean about everywhere that you see something Egyptian? What do you mean? Mean that it's tied to the history of the Moors. So also study the Moors if you're studying ancient Egyptian, whatever. So as Moors we know, like, you know, we don't know this and no Egypt. They're the ones that gave us permission to come settle in the land. Why we diss them? That's, you know, that's our cousins. We're North Africans. Whether it's North Africa on that side, North Africa on this side, we're North Africans. Right? Or North Moroccans. Because Africa is synonymous with, and it's real simple. And there's the unity. Unity tomorrow. But nah, they're going to do everything to try to disconnect from Moors. They'll tie themselves to Cushites. Tie themselves to Malians. Tie themselves to Sudanese and all these other cultures. As soon as it comes to Moors, they don't want to hear nothing about that. No way. We're not Moors. You're not going to be Islamic. There was just a bombing just the other day. They're trying to say that Muslims did it. What does that have to do with Moors? Nothing. Absolutely nothing to do with Moors. But the problem is, the so-called black scholars haven't taught our people. And they continue to not teach. Even though some of them are coming up, Islam to the elder Professor James Small, who came all the way to Toronto to tell these people here, hey, you guys better study the Moors. The Moors did great things. You better study the Moors. There's some right back there. Again, Phil Valentine came and told him, hey, see those guys over there, Moors? Make sure you go talk to those guys. Make sure. Don't leave here without going to that table over there that those Moors. Nobody came though. Because again, the people have are in a relationship with a soulless idea that has people in its possession. A soulless idea. What is soulless idea? Soulless idea is that more doesn't matter. But Moors, we don't do Moors. It's soulless to think like that. Because anybody else who has a soul, you tell them about the Moors, their eyes widen up, they get happy, they go and pull out something that they never showed anybody. Right? Just test it out. Bring up slave stuff, everybody starts feeling funny. Don't really want to talk about, you know what I mean? You know, they're just going to recognize it was a bad thing that happened and all that stuff, but they're not talking about it. Because, you know, if you talk about it, you're going to talk about people lynch and cutting open stomachs and all that stuff. Yeah, who wants to talk about that? Who wants to talk about that? When you can talk about greater things. And the only way to do that is if you know who you are. Because all of these people out here in the world, they know who we are. They're not kind of something or like that. They might talk BS with their little scientific racism and whatever. But trust, they know when this so-called black man knows who he is. It's the whole totally different situation. Just go from Superman to man. Right? Try that one. From Superman to man. J.A. Rogers again. Try that one. You know, people know your stuff. And then they know that we don't know. We then play stupid. And then we get caught in playing stupid. We get caught thinking the rigged card game is a real game. Then our money's piled up like this. Like, oh yeah, we're going home with all the... It's a rigged game. The game was rigged for you to win. Which means it's rigged for you to lose. As soon as you get too hype, as soon as you get too happy, you think you got this locked, pull carpet from under you. And then that's where they're going with their scientific racism BS. Pull the carpet under you so the people could have, you know, this fight for Egypt. Because, you know what I mean? Egypt, we're black people and we got to fight for Egypt. When there's no Egypt. What are you fighting for? Ain't nothing over there. Dusty stuff. There's some pale Arabs over there right now. Well, it's pale Arabs in Morocco, if you're in the kingdom, but the empire, you know, all I see is Asiatics. I see, you know what I mean? Like, there's very few Europeans. I don't know what numbers they're counting. But where I'm at, I don't really see Europeans. See hijabs everywhere. Everybody talking about and all that. Right? Documenting African origins. In a book entitled The Ruins, or A Survey of the Revolutions of Empires, by C.F. Volney, Count F. Volney, documented the black origins of the ancient Egyptian civilization. Reflecting on his visit to Egypt, he writes, "Behold the wrecks of her metropolis, of Thebes, with her 100 palaces, the parent of cities and monument of the caprice of destiny. There are people now forgotten, discovered, while others were yet barbarians, the elements of the arts and sciences. A race of men now rejected from society for their sable skin and frizzled hair, founded on the study of the laws of nature, those civil and religious systems which still govern the universe." In the American translation of The Ruins, published in the early 1800s, the editor included a footnote claiming that Volney changed his mind about the African origins of Egypt and omitted all of the passages that made reference to the Egyptians as black. Consider the revision to the paragraph above, which reads, "Behold Thebes, with her 100 palaces, that first metropolis of arts and sciences, the mysterious cradle of so many opinions which still govern man without his knowledge." The American translation of The Ruins eliminates Volney's initial observations along with the many sources he cited to verify the African origins of ancient Egypt. So remember, the American translation should be European translation, because the Americans are copper-toned people, and we know that they ain't translate Count Volney's stuff, right? The Europeans did that. The same thing that Jose Pimenta Bay, make sure you go get his book, Othello's Children of the New World, and he's talking about that when you write the books in Europe, it says Moors. When they republish them in U.S, it says Negro. You write the book in whatever, it says Moors. Republish over here, just black guys. Okay? So this is something that they do. Have their translator of the ancient texts, whatever like that, and then they fiddle with stuff. Right? Again, these people are saying that it's scientific racism that's making them do this, when it's really survival, because they go through all this stuff and they don't see no history of themselves. Like everything goes back to Asiatics everywhere, and their origin nowhere in sight. They're gonna start doctoring stuff, because you're here and you're doing genealogy research or whatever, and you can't find your mom, your dad, mom's mom, your dad's dad, your dad's mom, their mom. You can't find nobody. Just you here standing around. You're gonna start doctoring stuff. Right? And like Elijah Muhammad taught, the doctoring of stuff is really the grafting onto history, because of them not having any history of their own. Right? Don't let the grafting confuse the Yaqub story and stuff like that. Grafting. They're grafting themselves into the history to be somebody. That's how they made themselves somebody. Going in, and don't forget, Moors and Masonry. Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey. Moors and Masonry is the book that will show you, tell you, inform you that European people dress up like Moors, call their stuff Moorish titles or whatever like that, And then in the public, they're the politicians and whoever that's running the so-called, what these people think is government or whatever. But in secret, they're pretending to be Moors. All of them. And they come in public and then, and then just like scientific racism, have these people, Egypt is that same energy trying to defend Egypt, same energy that they have defending that they're not Illuminati, whose symbol is a pyramid, which comes from Egypt. So how are you Kemetic and you're for Egypt, but then Illuminati is some devil worshipping whatever like that, and then you're gonna say that they're using the pyramid as their stuff? Maybe Europeans got something that you should have in order for you to be in your right frame of mind, because clearly you don't know what's going on. If the so-called people who don't even claim pyramid as their pyramid, people put that on them, that that's theirs, right? Assume jurisdiction. So they assume what you give them. What they assume, the power of what? Of the Moors. Why? Because these people know that a fez is a pyramid without a capstone. And the capstone is the pineal gland, as above, so below, and then so below. The capstone. So once they realize that, these individuals are waking up to their birthrights and their nationality and who they are and all that stuff, ask Moors. They just give up the goods to you. It wouldn't even be a secret anymore. And not that there are secrets anymore, because everything's bust open. But they've played and 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 played, and everything's imploding. History's imploding. Economics imploding. Social stuff imploding. The unions getting mad and stuff like that. They're just wanting to stand up for every employee, because the stuff's pretty much done. People are beginning to realize how done it is. But we have a particular position, because ultimately this is our estate. And being that this estate is ancestral, being that this estate is something that's passed down from generation to generation to generation, it's going to keep getting passed down. It's only going to be passed down to Moors. It's not going to be passed down to anybody else. Anybody else who has, quote unquote, assumed jurisdiction of it, it's really only on paper. It's not really the land, even though you're going to perpetrate like it's the land. It's really only on paper. But anything that they put on the land belongs to the landlords now. There's no uprooting. Once you put it on the land, okay, it's the landlords now. And when they get the concept that this birthrights, this nationality is not some, drawing or religion, or it's actually about unity. It's actually about pooling all our stuff together. There's no, the whole idea, the black economics and stuff like that. Black economics. It's not, there can't be. There can't be black economics. It won't work. Why can't it just be economics? You gotta put black on it. Why? As soon as you put black on it, you kill it. And again, why would you kill it with that? Why African economics? It's come back to the same thing, just like the scholar. You know better, but then you fall back right into the fiction again, talking crazy. Opposed to just dealing with the reality. Like, opposed to just dealing with the reality, right? Ancient Egyptians of New Mexico, 1993. Barbara Holly Rock. In April 1991, my colleagues and I first viewed the inscription carved on gray limestone atop a narrow valley with about a 1,000-foot drop to the valley floor. The view from the site was immense. We could see both north up the narrowing valley for several miles and south down to the open plain horizon. Access to this site is up the west side of the mountain trail, cut by wagon tracks, then across the mountaintop by foot to a narrow ledge facing west. A month later, other members returned to take infrared photographs of the inscription and to make a plastic mold. The inscription is precisely drafted with evenly spaced characters on invisible straight lines. The salutation, ON, is left and above the 3-line message. To the right of the bottom line is another complex character which I would refer to as signature. Since we were then affiliated with Fell's Epigraphic Society, I asked for opinions to the origin and date of the inscription. 3 opinions were offered concerning only its national origin. Hmong, H-M-O-N-G, Western Ojibweans, Indian, and Demotic Egyptian, D-E-M-O-T-I-C, Egyptian. None were offered for the translation or possible date. Background. Hieroglyphic writing is only one of 3 kinds of script which in the course of time evolved in ancient Egypt. There was a gentle and gradual change from Old Egyptian to Demotic, yet the break between Demotic and Coptic was cataclysmic. Scientific racism. The defeat of paganism by Christianity carried with it the total elimination of the Egyptian language and Demotic writing, which had been paganism's literary medium. Developed about 200 BC, Coptic was perpetuated by the Christians. Demos, or people, is the root for the word demotic and for democracy. Demotic writing originated in northern Egypt, and it was used by Herodotus and other Greeks for writing daily documents. Remember what we were saying earlier? That the fall of Egypt is when Europeans were there. So you have these people making a connection to Egypt and putting themselves in there as having a hand to do with how modern script came about, when they're just recreators of the wheel. Something's already there. You didn't take what was there and use that. You form your own stuff and then say, ta-da, you got the new stuff. It doesn't work like that. Right? Now, some things that they found on these texts. The first message line, reading from left to right, contains 2 thoughts. The first 2 symbols are H for hail and Nu for village. The third is HRU for time or daytime, while Ankh, A-N-K-H, means either life or to live. The next is a bilateral compound of a wooden log stripped of branches with a sign attached. The last symbol, also bilateral compound, is MAA and T, or TCH, making ma'at, which means truth, justice, integrity. The third line begins with at end time symbol. The second and fourth symbols mean offerings or sacrifices. This time the parallel line means dual. The fifth symbol is uat, U-A-T, for the way or the road, followed by ankh for life or to live. So all these stuff they're finding over here. And you already know if you're talking about ankhs and you're talking about, you know what I mean, Heru and all that, you're not talking about Herodotus and Ptolemy and all these people, right? You're actually dealing with the origins, not the new people. You're dealing with the people prior, right? And again, with their scientific racism BS. The American translation of the ruins eliminates Volney's initial observations along with the many sources he cited to verify the African origins of ancient Egypt. Rather than to note a change in perspective, the American version sought to erase any memory of Volney's initial arguments. This erasure was significant because it also invalidated Volney's anti-slavery stance. 2 years prior to the publication of the ruins, Volney reflected on the black origin of ancient Egypt to reveal the contradictions inherent in racial slavery. In Voyages in Syria and Egypt, he argues, "Just think that this race of black men, today our slaves, the subject of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our arts, sciences, and even the use of speech. Just imagine, finally, that it is in the midst of people who call themselves the greatest friends of liberty and humanity that one has approved the most barbarous slavery and questioned whether black men have the same kind of intelligence as whites. Inevitably, the race of the ancient Egyptians mattered in a slave society that justified the oppression of black people based on their presumed inferiority. Ancient, and it's really assumed inferiority. It's really taking on that cloak of a slave or a serf or a Slavic. You take on the cloak of the Slavic and the Slavic took your cloak. And then all the other so-called slaves that realized what was up said that they're going to not dress like Slavics and get out of slavery. What do? Correct their status. Because remember, status is not just a name. Status is society. Status is land. Status is where and what position do you have on the estate? And whose estate is it that you're on? If it's your estate, you better have a free name that attaches to that state that you're in. Again, going back to why Moorish Americans were members of the Moorish Science Temples, because the Moorish Science Temples were states, and the branch temples broke down into the city, same way how they have it set up right now, where they're playing people. It's how the temples were set up. And the temple to temple correspondence is state to state correspondence. The branch temple to branch temple correspondence is the municipal to municipal. Mayor meeting the mayor. Hey mayor, how you doing? They do whatever they do. You don't know. Their little meetings, you don't know. They do their own stuff. People who are members of their municipal whatever, hey, sure, you can come on down and listen or whatever. Exact same thing that Nojo Ali set up. Right? Exact same thing. And it was taken completely out of context into some buildings that have to do with you praying and singing and doing things that have nothing to do with our salvation. Zero. Zero. Again, this thing could be done tomorrow. These Moors that say they're Moorish temples and grand temples and Moorish groups and all that stuff, start exercising like you are a state. Start exercising like you have come into the marvelous light. And stop playing European got something for you. European got nothing for you. Like, it doesn't have anything. And you know, we know it's not our generation. It's giving it to the younger ones so that they can stand up on their stuff. Because they're willing to stand up. Right? There's Moors, children today, that let more slip up and talk about, well, yeah, you know, driving the car or whatever. Dad, you mean conveyance, right? Yeah, well, you know, we were trying to go to, Dad, you mean will, not try, right? They're coming up right now. So our eyes were wide open when we came in. Wait till these new ones with their eyes wide open. See what they're talking about. See what they bring back from them planes. Ancient Egypt's achievements, as well as its influence on shaping civilization, including that of ancient Greece, disrupted the myth of the Dark Continent. To sustain this myth, the racialization of the ancient Egyptians as anything other than black or African became a necessary political tool. A necessary political tool to sustain this myth, the racialization of the ancient Egyptians as anything other than black or African. Black or African. And remember, taking off the African and you put Moors there. Because we listen to our scholars. And Dr. Ben said the Africans are Moors. That's what he taught. Because he went to the Moorish University of Spain and learned that Africans are Moors. Or he wouldn't have said it, you know. So he learned that. Africans, when they say Africans, talking about Moors. Today, at least from his time. And if the fight was to sustain the myth that the racialization of the ancient Egyptians was anything other than black or African, and then you come around today and you have these people classifying themselves as black, they just went out with that history, that myth that the Europeans told, that these people are not even that, which is really, really what it is. The Egyptians aren't black. They're Egyptians. Right? You want to see some scientific racism? Peep scientific racism. Put out propaganda to say that the ancient Egyptians aren't black, right? And then black people now, they're scholars, proving that you guys don't know what you're talking about. The ancient Egyptians are black. And then they start showing all these movies with Europeans playing ancient Egyptians. And now they're mad. when they sanctioned the movie. Because they keep talking about ancient Egyptians are black, where black means pale. And what did they do? They took that fable, they took that scientific racism and put it on a big screen. And then now you're saying that, oh, that's not right, that they're going to make a movie and not make the ancient Egyptians black when they actually were black because they were pale. And then if they would have went with it when the movie came out, instead of boycott, go see it and actually start pushing it. Yeah, you guys finally made the ancient Egyptians black. Black means pale. Good job, guys. That was a real good movie. Really appreciate the movie. It would have shattered their whole paradigm. And everybody would have woke up the next day that seen that movie in a whole different place. Would have been a different world when you open the door. Like, smells different. Air feels different. Right? Because the thing reached critical mass and couldn't be contained anymore. The lie couldn't be held anymore. Which is again where we're at right now. This is why, brother Sheldon L, he goes to his little cigar party, whatever, and man from Jordan's telling him, it's known that America's Morocco. Ain't no big news. It's known. Documented. It's factual. And so remember, the game that they're pulling on our people, for us to get them to realize what it is that they're doing, is the whole thing with them claiming everything is black, whatever. Which really means they're claiming it to be pale, which gives Europeans jurisdiction to do whatever it is they're doing to these people. Because they gave them the right to do it by claiming them as the power. Right? All the stuff that they're claiming is black, whatever, Europeans that's how they're vampiring. Because you have the actual ancient Egyptians who are supposed to be Moors, but they don't want to be that. They want to be the Egyptians, so then that energy is just floating. But, it's still hovering with them because they're the ones studying the info. As soon as they say black, all the energy of their ancestors dispersed to whoever is black. I think Noble Drew Ali had Moors dressing like Egyptians. Why? Why were there Moors dressed like Egyptians? Why is he doing that? Egyptians and Moors are the same people, just like Israelites and Moors are the same people. And Garveyites and Moors are the same people. And Rastafarians and Moors are the same people. And Hawaiian Moors are the same people. Nuwapian and Moors are the same people. Negro, black, colored, and Moors are the same people. It's just that all those other people don't claim to be Moors. Which if they claim to be Moors, there's the unity. So we can be done with this madness. Right? We can be done with this madness. But, again, everybody has their time. Right? Everybody has their time. For all the Moors who haven't done anything for fallen humanity and you feel guilty or whatever, May 22nd to June 5th, 2017, Aku Brown and Sister Essie are doing a essential healthcare items for girls in Ghana. So it's a positive self-image and health of girls campaign. The contact number is 647-629-9319. 647-629-9319. You can contact Maxine at aku.brown@yahoo.ca, aku.brown@yahoo.ca, or Leela at ESI_AYA@yahoo.ca, ESI_AYA@yahoo.ca. Right, so Aku Brown, aku.brown@yahoo.ca, or ESI_AYA@yahoo.ca. Telephone number 647-629-9319. Healthcare items to the Mania Krobo Girls Program. Bar soap, body wash, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, sanitary napkins, shampoo, undergarments, etc. So if you have the ability to assist, May 22nd to June 5th is how long the campaign's going. Contact them. They might not be able to, or you might not be able to donate stuff. You might want to donate finance, whatever. Whatever it is, contact them and set up whatever you got to set up and help out some less fortunate people. Because we're all they got. So let's try to do something. Now, we also wanted to, saw this online, and this was interesting, because language says a lot. Certificate of Registration, Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics. In accordance with the true policies of Noble Drew Ali and Presidents Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Johnson, this document exists as a certification that the individual indicated below has taken and subscribed an oath affirmation of allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America, including the 13th Amendment with 20 sections. The individual has also proclaimed his true free national name, race, nationality, and religion as follows. SSAN, then there's a number. Name, Clarence Rideout Reynolds L. Race, Asiatic. Nationality, Moorish American. Date of birth, May 30th, 1939. Place of birth, Baltimore, Maryland. Place of birth, Baltimore, MD. Date of proclamation, February 22nd, 1971. Location, Baltimore, MD. Religion, Islamism. The ancient name L must be annexed as a suffix to the slave family name of the individual in all public and private records throughout the state, states, and nations, etc. Upon the complete implementation of Section 16 and 17 of the 13th Amendment with 20 sections to the U.S. Constitution, the individual will receive his full permanent ancestral name through the United States government. Then it has signatures on there. Now, you're taking an oath to show allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America. How come the complete implementation of Section 16 and 17 of the 13th Amendment with 20 sections are not of the United States of America, but the U.S., the U.S. Constitution? That's two different constitutions being referenced in one document, which clearly there's conflict of interest because the U.S. Constitution, 13th Amendment, doesn't have 20 sections. Never did. The Constitution of the United States of America, including the 13th Amendment with the 20 sections, is a totally separate 13th Amendment with sections. And again, if Noble Drew Ali, who, remember, Noble Drew Ali is the founder, and Noble Drew Ali laid down for the Moors that the United States of America is a republic. American Republic. Made reference to republic. U.S. is a democracy. It's not a republic. So it appears that this registration into the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics is using the United States of America Republic Constitution on the surface, but really is tied to the U.S. Constitution and the U.S. government, which are corporate entities. We told people, go to rvbaypublications.com, get treaty book. In the treaty book, you're going to read about citizenship in the United States. And they say clearly that Moors naturalize and lose their nationality. Oath of allegiance to the Constitution through Presidents Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Johnson, and, according to them, the policies of Noble Drew Ali. It's very interesting that there's no Noble Drew Ali certificate of registration. Because, if this is something dealing with the foundation of Noble Drew Ali, this shouldn't be something that came about without him having one or a version of one or something relative to one. Because we know that Moorish school of law and history is, something that came up out of the reincarnated prophets. Now, Oath of Amnesty and Reconstruction, which is the oath to the Constitution that these individuals are taking, if they're mentioning Abraham Lincoln in this, was prior to Noble Drew Ali. So if that was prior to Noble Drew Ali, then process should have been open to him to naturalize as well. But he didn't tell Moors anything about naturalize. Zero. Said nothing about naturalized. Just like he said nothing about urban search and rescue. Said nothing about barcodes. Said nothing of that. Everything's already done. Go to these temples. Make these individuals do like what Dr. Nyla did with her church and turn it into a house of reawakening minds. That's what has to happen with the temples. All these temples have to turn from being come pray to come learn. But that's only going to happen with the people realizing what it is that they have. Because the people still have not really digested what it is that their noble prophet has brought for them. Still hasn't really sunk in really. You know? And again, with how it looks. With how it looks. Right? With how it looks, it appears that, you know, things are going to be working in favor for the Moors, the ones that have been, you know, doing their due diligence, studying, the ones who have been, you know, doing their best to let somebody else know, regardless of how dramatic the cause is at getting this information to our people, that, you know what I mean, we hold strong and continue putting out this word about nationality and birthrights, right? Because it's going to turn around. It is going to turn around. All right. We only got one email tonight. If anybody in the chat, if you got something, just send it over to Canaanland Guide, CANAANLAND GUIDE, CanaanlandGuide@gmail.com. If you got something, just send it over. Brother Jared. Good morning, Kudro. I hope you don't consider my previous question a stupid question. No questions are stupid. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. That's the stupid question. You know, so at least to us, CanaanlandGuide@gmail.com. Feel free to send your questions so we can direct you to some answers or whatever. Because, you know, like we know, it's not about telling you anything. It's about directing you where to go to get your answer. Not about telling. Don't think because, you know, you ask a question that, you know, how come you just answer it like that? Because it's just a reference point for you to go study. We're not telling you anything. You know what I mean? But it will inspire you to go look. And guarantee that when you go look, you're going to go find what is supposed to be found. Okay. I really did want to know. I don't always know where to find answers. I have previously asked questions from the comment section of a few of your videos. They were never answered. They never will be. But after the principles in nationality episode, where the lady caller argued with you and Mother Raz, I decided not to do that anymore to avoid being suspected of troll activity. As some questions I asked could be mistaken for such. I am not a troll. Coming into this info, I tried to prove it wrong to prove it right. Now from study I know it's the truth, but I don't know if I'm fully prepared to become active because I don't know if I will be challenged on something I'm not prepared for. I am a Virgo. We overthink and constantly worry. It's part of what makes us perfectionists. I must be honest. I admire your dedication to the movement. I'm just saying I'm proud of what you do and just wanted to network with you. If you are too busy, I totally understand. Keep up the excellent work. Maybe we'll cross paths some way. Peace and love. Right? So there it is again. Just another one of the many examples of people who come into this information and they actually want to continue on in this information, right? One of the things that all Moors have to understand, overstand, understand is that there is no almost or gonna be prepared for something with regard to your birthrights. Right? There's not, it's either you're not prepared or you're over prepared. The only two options. Right? Because remember, just like the cells, there's no middle self. There's only two cells. So to wind it down, we'll say, there's two perspectives. Either you are overqualified or you're not qualified. That's where it's at. No middle ground. And qualified doesn't mean, you take the test on MHS that you got 100%, now you're qualified. That's not, right? That's not really, that's just for yourself. It's not 100% on test means you're qualified. Because the real qualification is how you engage people with your new mind, regardless of who they are. Whether it's somebody claiming some authority over you, or whether it's your aunt who came down for the weekend and you happen to have your fez on that day. And she hits you up with the, you're a Mason? And then you never studied anything of that. Let's see how you do. If you get 100, let's see if you get 100 in real life. Test is different. Let's see if when the highwayman stops you, you get 100. It might be just, you just turn a corner, highwayman's there. Hey, how you doing? How could I get your name and whatever? See what goes down. You never. There's no prepare for, well, this is gonna happen, let me prepare. Either you're over prepared, either you're over qualified, or you're not qualified. It's just that simple. Right? So, Moors that are active take the approach of overqualified. Right? Moors take the approach of, when they go for the job, they're like, sorry, we can't hire you, you're overqualified. Right? You know too much stuff for us to hire you. That's where it has to be for Moors with this information. And then that would cause a lot more things to go in your favor. Because of the overqualification, the energy already is going to be different. And when the energy is different, the engagement is going to be different automatically. So let's keep studying. You know what I mean? Don't worry about active means how much tickets you beat and how many highwaymen you said right to travel, and they're like, oh, sorry sir, keep traveling and all that stuff. That's not active, right? We got the motto, uplift fallen humanity. Active is to tell somebody who doesn't know. Active is to be yourself, not be somebody else. I mean, you could be you. You could wear your baseball hat backwards and stuff like that. Be a Moor still. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Be yourself. You don't have to force to be a Moor. Prove something, right? As you get info, as you fill up, stuff that's not needed is gonna just wash off you. It's not gonna want to be on you. Just keep getting info. Stuff will wash out. Right? Make sure you get the right info. When we going after reincarnated prophets and, you know what I mean, people without free national names telling you that they went to the UN and stuff like that and they got you something. Don't be foolish, right? You still have obligation to have common sense, even though, you know what I mean, right? Brother Hassan Ghaziel, LB, can you express the pros and cons pertaining to having/holding study groups? Pros of study groups: uplifting fallen humanity. Because the idea is that your study group is going to draw people who want to learn, who have an open mind, who, you know what I mean, are looking to change their life, etc. Like we said, back in the day, even before this info, we had study groups. And our study group was VHS and you know what I mean, tapes. Put the TV there, put the tape in, push play, and everybody sit back with their pen, take notes. After stuff's done, come back together for an hour. Everybody goes over their notes, who missed what, who didn't get whatever, blah, 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 and that was study session, right? So it's a way of, a pro is that it's a way of bringing people with like minds together. The con is that in bringing these people with like minds together, you're gonna have those ones who, you know, they might not be agent, but they got different stuff that they want to do. They have different motives, right? So with bringing these people together, the pro, the con is that you're gonna have these wayward ones that are gonna try to, you know, pull rank or, you know, make it be their thing or whatever it is. Well, however these people come in and cause disruption in what's going on, right? Another pro is that you get to, like, if we say we would do book report. Here's the book for everybody for this week or whatever like that. Next week when you come back, let us know what you got. You know, whether you finished or not, whatever. Just, you know, if you can get the right people to be part of the study group and take it serious, you also now have a think tank. You know what I mean? So one of the good examples is the Moors near Massachusetts, right? Brother Yusuf and Waya and those Moors, right? Now, they study together, write writs together, like whatever it is that they do together, because it's a think tank. So you have, you know, these three individuals with three different mindsets taking in this one book now you have all these different perspectives. And again, once you have the right people with the right frequency, what comes out of the think tank is going to be your literature for, new people later. People 2-3 years from now that are going to come in, that you're going to have curriculum for them now, because, you know what I mean? You already went through all the stuff, you already know what's there, bam, bam, and it's going to be set up that when people come in, man, they get their hand out first day, you know what I mean? They know what's going to be taught, whatever like that. You could have it running in weekly sessions, monthly sessions, and this is going into where it's just pros from there. Because once you start the study group, and you have those individuals who are part of it that are of the particular mindset, then this thing could go anywhere. Like, it could literally go anywhere. It could turn into something, that goes into schools, like men of distinction, right? Study group of Moors. Hey, you know what we could do? We can go into the schools and start helping out the young people, especially the ones that are wayward or whatever. Yeah, we're a group of Moors, we have this program called Men of Distinction. Here's the outline, here's the stuff we're going to study, here's the right? And now they're in the schools. How much ever days a week? They got, 12 to 15 youth every week? Like hard body every week? Wanting to come to the program and all that? Right? Came out of Moors, and again, those Moors, their study group was the temple. Right? Because those are just some Moors that are in the temple that said, hey, we got these connects that we could use. Let's use these connects and see what we could do and try to do something for the nation. So like people can't say what the Moors doing. No, Moors are in the schools. You got Men of Distinction program going on. Right? Well, why aren't the Moors? The Moors got a farm in Florida. You want to get your stuff. You got. That's where we get our moringa from. You know what I mean? Get it from the Moors, because that's who we should be supporting, our own, right? That's the idea, right? You know what I mean? If I want dashiki, I'm gonna go to Cosmo, because the Moor knows how to do the stuff. You know what I mean? And now, study group magnified. Study group magnified is what the temples were during Noble Drew Ali's time. Because the temple was a school. Study group. The study group is really supposed to get you to the point of this is going to be a school eventually. Or some type of learning institution where people could come and get this information. They might be able to get tests. They might be able to, however it runs, it's gonna be determined on the individuals who are part of it. Right? And again, the only con is outside people who aren't on the frequency that's mad at what you're doing or jealous of what you're doing or thinking, well, we can do better than that or whatever like that. They're not going to form their own thing. They're going to come try and mess your stuff up. That'll be the only con. Everything else is pro. Because it's uplifting for humanity. If you're saying, program, tomorrow, free, we're going to have, the guy down there with the fish shack, he's going to come with 50 fish sandwiches or whatever like that at, half price. The juicer lady, she's going to come and she's going to have her juice, whatever, set up, whatever like that. And, just come learn every Tuesday from, 5 to 7 or whatever. You know what I mean? And then that's what it is. Even again with, the Moors in Virginia, they got their alkaline water hookup to the stuff, you know what I mean? And they're going to temple with 50 jugs of alkaline water. $5 a bottle. Right? You know what I mean? Like jugs, like we were there filling up jugs. Plug this thing, next bottle. Good 40 jugs or something like that. I mean, got to the temple, all the drugs gone. Before Moor even pulled up, drugs were done. Just because Moors, they support Moors, and then, you know, they do their stuff. Do what's supposed to be done. You know? So, you know, it's unfortunate of what the con is. Because like Drew Ali said, you know, some of my best Moors are in the church. But, you know, certain people's minds just aren't there to really understand the magnitude. And again, a big example is Dr. Nyla. Like, had a church and got on birthrights and turned the church into a learning institution. If all of them could do that, if all of them could get this info, and the place where they're saying is the, you know, yeah, we got this, we're gonna hold this down as our place of worship for the whatever, whoever they worship, and they get on this info and they say, hold on a second, we need to start teaching some of this stuff right here. Things will change. You know what I mean? If not, foot soldiers gotta get the cracking. You know, foot soldiers gotta get the cracking. Gotta get this word out. You know what I mean? Gotta get this word out. Every chance you get, pull out a phone, tape somebody that's dropping something, just so that people could know. Oh, damn, this guy knows or whatever. You know? Right, so that looks like it for today. So keep in mind, when you're talking with Moors, speaking with Moors, and they start talking about, you know, well, yeah, you know, we have this, whatever, that you can be a real citizen or be a whatever like that. If they're talking U.S. don't mess with them. If they're talking U.S.A.R. mess with them. If they're talking about, you know, pay in silver, don't do it. Just backpedal, right back to your house, and go to rvbaypublications.com and go study. Stop trying to get the way out of stuff. There ain't no way out of anything. We're in it. We're in it, so you're going to have to deal with the fact that you're in it. Right? You're going to have to deal with the fact that you're in it. It's okay though, because life is about learning. Life is about lessons that come in many different shapes and forms. You know what I mean? So, you know, look at negative situations more positive, because, you know, there's positive and negative. Every negative situation, there's something you can get out of it to better your life, better yourself. So, I don't know if I got the phone was quiet. The phone keeps, somebody had this phone, because I don't know how it's, volume's always going down, and it's not me doing it. So, don't forget, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, Blog Talk Radio. Don't forget, Blog Talk Radio, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, 9:30 tonight, every single Tuesday. Every Tuesday. Call-in number 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201 and 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. Islam to all the Moors in attendance. Appreciate y'all. your time, energy, and the likes. Don't forget again, moorishdirectory.com. Make sure you support, check it out. Publishinfo.net. Make sure you check it out. moorishcivilletter.net. moorsandmasonry.org. Support. Go on these websites. You know what I mean? Take in this information. Get something. Get some type of inspiration and feed off that inspiration, as little bit as it is. You know what I mean? Right? And we're gonna close out with some more subpar bars from Henchman Addy, because we're just taking it back today. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Islam. And don't forget Northgate's Imports. Make sure you support, Aboriginal, indigenous culture. Don't sleep. Not sleep on it.
Hold snapping grip like frigid Arctic winds. Hold tightly around the enemy's throat. Black samurai trotting on missions at hand. Blazing razors cut so deep in adversaries pour their life out like water from broken clay jars. Maroons, descendants of Kemet tribes, both of the valleys and higher lands. Rastafari, foot soldiers in 777,000-mile band. Thrash over Babylon's pagans, eradicate the heathens, to their surrendering knees in those queendom halls. Ancient tribal killers like whispered phrases manifesting before the unawares. Blushing red is a splatter that comes after, and off comes the heathen's head. Bullets and rockets cannot save you now. Fear is our precision. Wounds of 1,000 incisions. No doubt the last thoughts escape their mouth and lights out. Unlike that cold snapping grip, shadows of red and black seize the prey of fouldom. Straight to hell's fiery gates of eternal blackness. Forever they tumble the abyss. Hail Haile Selassie I Rastafari. My strength, and in battle we conquer and overcome.
Mankind's an ignorant race, shooting spaceships into space to study the mysteries of life. Search for God to stay safe, cause as a king approach a blackness, of a veil fill up with slackness. Revolution warmongers swarm the Vatican, overthrowing IMF invasions, royal families and masons, microchip installation. Ill hunt United Nations, the house that is supreme. Triple X binary dreams fold a shell over the scheme, with cellular brain tissue beams, magnetic strips between the seams, and satellites approaching me, but in a place uncharted. Henchmanati, hold back the currents of the sea. I saw raging devils chasing me, so we resort to demolition, revolution tactics. See, mass confusion, jealousy. It's time we round up all the demon gods who preach lust for money. The kids of poverty, give up the stronghold on currencies that be the property. A Babylonian high priest who jeopardized the lives of Charlemagne and paganry, and bloodthirsty cults with gateways to heaven. A website prophecies my mind's a spaceship armed with steroid pump 2 leads. It takes 1 million to move me like King Kong in their movies. False believers burn at the stake. For heaven's sake, devils bake. We levitate. Who got 150 foot and backwards and rolled in trees? We gotta get about this old hellhole. I wrote a Sanskrit scroll. My body's titanium alloy with a lovely skin of dark gold. Paper clips are unfold to pick locks and open up the other 95%. I'm heaven sent amongst an ignorant race. Crown me king and hold your breath. I walk to the valley of shadows with a cloak of death. Life. Yo, bloody wings, halos gleaming. Henchmen, Henchnadi. Life.
Y'all motherfuckers weak, henchmen slay all disagreeable genes. Encrypt supreme true Gnostics in our speech. Apocalyptic speech, destroying underlings of the beast. Starting with the first beast, Nimrod, the soul of discord. The ignorant, impure, one with the true God. The most high divine architect. Mr. Whispers, Ho Chi Minh, man, bring out the howitzer text. Aiming at the crucifix, man, don't get me vexed. I put this dag in your neck and avenge Morley's death. Tap into my pineal gland and astral project. Commence to unfold, decode Luciferian conspiracies, conspirators, disassemblers get disassembled, decommissioned, harvest the sorrow, get an armed soldier, royal archer, equals Tris Magistus, resurrect like Sekana Ray toward the second before I hit the dust, pulsate 144 volts and turn you to dust, nothing left but husk, and your husk, omit you from the living, trainers of the black nation, selling poison to your children, enslaving your children, mankind, I'm vengeance driven, I'm slaying Baal, Mammon, and prophets like Merlin, place him in my prism, IHF, microphone, archer, marksman, henchman, we don't dead men, we stretch them. Barabbas knows this is a hit. Super gods knows this is a hit. 5% God bodies knows this is a hit. Bros, Jack and T-Stick, Misfat knows this is a hit. Selassie established it so you can't overthrow it. Love, truth, justice, Ma'at, Amin Ra, Rastafari, Morning Star, the Most High. Pierces the night and your lies, overthrowing serpents under disguise.